Good evening, everyone. Welcome to JB Noise Podcast. Thank you for joining me on this evening. I just wanted to come in for a brief moment and share with you guys and inspire you. One of the things I spoke of is being able to inspire you, to motivate you, to educate you, and be able to share with you things to help you along the way. But today's message is going to be more of an inspiration. The reason why is I am compelled, I am obligated to share with you and to encourage you. The reason why, and recall years ago, I took on the title, I took on the responsibility to be able to encourage God's people and to share with God's people and to motivate them and to preach to them the gospel. I was ordained under the late Bishop Chandler Davis Owens as an ordained preacher in the Church of God in Christ. And since then, I have continued to motivate, to inspire, and to preach the gospel. And I will not sell this podcast short of being able to inspire God's people and motivate God's people and give testimony to his great deliverance and how he brought even me through. So today's message is going to be a motivational message. And it's to inspire you. Some of you have went through this week, not just this week, this month, even the beginning of the year. What things have been so out of character for you, so irate for you, and you feel overwhelmed at times. What is ironic is that's been the life of many people from day one. From when I say day one, I'm speaking from birth. From the time that you were born, even to present day, that has, in many cases, been the testimony of those who are going through. Now, understand that my inspiration tonight may not speak to all people, may not speak to everyone. If I can inspire that one person or those few people who have had the experience that I've had and understand it, I hope it encourages you and motivates you to move forward. One of the things I've noticed even in my life is having to always fight to get ahead. And when I say get ahead, I'm not talking just from monetary reasons. I'm not just talking from the standpoint of trying to be better than anyone else. I'm talking about just applying yourself. But everything seems to be a struggle. Things seems to come at you from somewhere when you're doing what you're supposed to do. You are at least, when I say supposed to do, let me preface that because understanding is key. The Bible says we perish for the lack of knowledge. And in all things, get an understanding. When I say in that capacity, I'm saying when you're doing what you're supposed to do, in reference to what we're taught, what society has deemed us to do. And you've tried to be within those guidelines, but everything seems to go array. It's frustrating. It becomes daunting because you're being that disciplined person. You're being that person who consider others. You're being that person who obey your parents for the most part, try to obey. I mean, we all have our moments where we don't necessarily do everything right. The good versus the bad doesn't seem to equate. It's what I want to talk about. and had to use for a thought or a topic or something that to motivate you, I don't want you to know this tonight. You are built for this. I need you to know that you are built for this. What or whoever tried to against you, you're built for this. Your adversary, what they don't know is when you were born, your mother's womb, you are already in the process of being at birth because you're built for this. I say this because it's important that you understand. Being built for this, and I preface this, is life. When life throws you circumstances and situations and things that you don't understand, you're built for it because God had built you for this. And He prepared you for this. And the reason I stated earlier, everybody can't receive this is because everyone is not built for what you're built for. They're built for this. And God built you for this because of the fact that He trusts in you. In your adversity, you're going to display that built for this moment. You display that moment where whatever way, I'm built for it and I'm going to do it. When they count me out, I'm going to do it. When they say, oh yeah, he or she can't, I'm going to do it. And I say that because I lived that. I've lived that from day one. From day one. And day one would be from the day that I was born. I remember when I was born, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I remember my mother telling me when I was born, and soon thereafter, I became very ill. And she and my father didn't know what was going on with me. And during that time, I'm sure medicine was not what, or nowhere near what it is today. And so after, I guess, a few days, and I didn't seem to respond or recover or show some signs of healing, they took me to the medical facility to seek medical attention. And upon their arrival and speaking with the doctor, I was diagnosed with pneumonia. And the doctor told my mother, according to my mother, had you waited another day, you would have died. Well, that may have been true, but when God got His hands on you, there is no one that can stop you. No one or nobody can stop you from being what God has ordained for you, because you're built for this. Whatever the adversary think he's got on you, you are built for this. And so I survived that pneumonia at an early age, and I went on and lived a great childhood. So you can attest of moments where you have had to, or that challenging moment in your life, and you trying to figure it, even to the point where sometimes you be like, I want to just give up. I want to give it all and just be done with it. I didn't sign up for this. Life is so hard. I didn't sign up for this. Give up. No. Because you're built for it. And if God had instilled it in you, he wouldn't have trusted you with it. God only instilled things in those that he can trust that can handle it. He wouldn't have chose Job if he knew Job would have given up. Even when his friends came around and told him to give up and told him to just throw in the towel because so much is happening in your life, just give up. Even the very sacred one, his wife, who told him just cuss God and die. Your wife's supposed to be your significant other and the one that you trust the most, but telling you to give up on God. Don't ever give up on God. Because if he trusts you for this, he trusts that you can see it through. And the reason why he instilled it in you is because he knows that you will display to others what he's given you and that you can make it. Because others can't deal with what you're dealing with. Others can't handle what you can handle. Others seem to give up, and many cases they commit suicide. You do things as the cycle unknown, cause they leave all. But God has entrusted in you something even more miraculous. That I am bigger than this attitude. And that's what I'm talking about tonight. I'm bigger than this. I don't care what you throw my way. I don't care how you come at me. I don't care how the adversaries and those around me that try to put me. I'm bigger than this. And I'm going to show that I'm bigger than this. Many of you may be saying, well, I hear that thunder. I hear that little motivational speak. But where's the substance? Well, I shared with you the fact that I was supposed to be dead even as an infant. I move a little bit long, a little bit further. Being bigger than this is more than just a life and death situation. It deals with life in itself. You may not have been born with a silver spoon. You may not have been born with all the attributes and all the accolades and all the riches that others have. Or perhaps just middle class, upper middle class, where even in grade school or throughout life, you see others, everything becomes so easy for them. They don't have to work hard at this. They don't have to go out and labor in a particular area just to make sure that they can be equal like I or you have. We have to fight for everything that we get. Everything. Nothing seems to come easy for those or others that may experience that. You look, you glean at others and you see, oh my God, they are out and they don't even have to do a whole lot and everything seems to fall in their lap. And you begin to question God because you're like, well, they don't even have a prayer life. They even assemble themselves in one's church to just congregate and to fellowship. They seem like they can, in many cases, may be the nastiest person in the world. Everything seems to fall in their lap. Whereas you, we have to fight for everything we get. Nothing comes easy. And the reason why, and as soon as you recognize this and realize this, you're going to be a better person. I guarantee you. Because you'll know it and you'll prepare yourself for it. But you are built for this. God built you for this moment throughout your life. You fought, you struggled, and every time you showed your enemies, you showed your adversaries that you're built for this. So, outside of just the regular motivational words, I would like to share with you, even with me, simple things in life. I remember when I was a little boy, growing up in a little small town in Andalusia, Alabama. My mother, single mother, but my father was always around and very supportive. But during that time, there was not a whole lot of money. They both did what they could, but certain things they couldn't afford. She couldn't afford. I was a big time music person. I found that out early in life. I lived on the south side of Andalusia. And I went to a church and I got so fascinated with drums. And so I came home and I just wanted to learn drums. Well, my parents couldn't afford drums. My mother pretty much being the primary care because she raised us in a single home, could not afford drums. She would buy drums on perhaps a Christmas, but they were like toy drums where I guess 3-4 weeks out or maybe a month or two, they were damaged because I had beat him to death. I mean, just beat him down. But I still love the drum. And during that time, I'm not going to give out my age. Like today, during that time, we had metal garbage cans. And I'm not sure if those cans were issued out by the city or we purchased them, but there were metal garbage cans and everyone had the same thing. So I would, if I had to make an inference here, I would say the city delivered those garbage cans for weekly pickup. But I turned those garbage cans into a set of drums. My mother couldn't afford drums, but I wanted to play drums. No one I knew that had drums. So I would get those garbage cans and I would surround them around me and I would beat those garbage cans. I would use the top of them and the side and lick up the bottom just to make that additional sound that helps with my cadence. Oh my God. You can hear those drums all over Southside, some would say. Others would say, I can hear those pop, 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 pop. Drums, just those cans, those metal cans just beating on Southside. I was just a young boy. Little old lad. But I made it happen for me. I used what resources I had. And whatever the naysayers said, I built for this. Because later in life, from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade, I was one of the star drummers in the band. And during my high school years, I even had my own percussion solo during halftime in the football game. Now, I say this not to boast, but I'm saying what? No. When you're built for something, I don't care what your resources may look like. I don't care what your naysayers may say. That stop you from doing what you're going to do. And even interfere with what God had planned for you. So you continue to push and press toward the mark which Paul talked about. and don't give up, because what? I am an overcomer. So I went on another story, and these stories are to motivate you, because remember I told you I am that person. I am that person who throughout life, from day one of having to fight for my life and birth, shortly after birth, throughout life having to fight for everything because nothing was given. I had to fight because I am built for this. I'm built for it. I'm built for whatever you throw my way. Bring it. I'm built for it because God built me to come whatever you try to throw at me. I'm going to make the adjustments. I'm going to move how I need to move, but I'm built to make the difference. And so are you. You're built to make the difference. And you will make the difference. So I did discuss I love instruments. And after I finished the drums, I didn't necessarily finish the drum, but I kind of fell in love with the piano and the keyboard. This had to be around, I guess, my 10th, 11th grade year in college. In high school. And again, it's a financial thing. My mother could not afford, we had an old override at some point in the house, but she could not afford to go out and get me lessons and buy a keyboard and this. And so for me, I wanted to learn. And I knew that in order for me to learn, I had to figure out a solution. Why? Because I'm built for this. Okay, I'm going to try to find my resources. I'm going to try to find something or someone that can help me out. Well, in that case, there was no one, because I didn't have any friend that had a keyboard or knew that they could even play a keyboard. Musicians during that time, or back in my day, it was very scarce. No one really knew how, and the ones that did didn't necessarily want to teach. But my mom and my dad were supportive, but they couldn't afford to buy me these things or lessons. So here's what I done. Why? Because I'm built for this. So my mom, she was the pastor's aide president. And sometimes I would either sneak her key to the church, our local church, or many cases, because I knew, I didn't want to put her to disposition, I would, during church services, I would unlock one of the windows at the church, right there at North Cotton Street in Andalusia, Alabama. I would unlock one of the windows at the church during church services on Sunday, because I knew during the week church services was scarce, And so during the week, I knew what window I had unlocked. And so what I would do is I would go and crawl through the window of the church so that I could get inside and practice on the piano that the church owned. And so I would go in there, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I would bang, I would hit this, do this, and do that, not knowing what I was doing. And then over time, I started to develop things, and I was starting to pick up an ear. Musicians, you know what I'm talking about, and starting to hear different melodies. And during that time, they didn't necessarily have YouTube, where now you can go on there and learn a song in a minute, and it would illustrate everything. We didn't have that. You would either listen to the song and learn it by ear, and that was done with one of those, they call them the little, I don't know, little recorders. You had to put the little square recorder in there and play it over and over again. And so I would begin to develop an ear. I would begin to develop fingers and learning. And all this was done on my own time because I wanted to learn how to play. And so eventually I went off to school and I began to even develop even more from what I learned there. Now I say this once again because this particular podcast is to motivate you. And since that time, I have played for so many choirs. I have played and sung with so many artists in the gospel industry. I have did weddings, funerals, and sometimes I jokingly say, and bar mitzvahs. But I say that because I didn't let my environment dictate my outcome. Because I realize that I'm built for this moment. I'm built for it because God built me for this. I did not allow people to dictate what I can and can't do. I did not allow my resources to dictate what I can and cannot do. And so will and can you, because there is something in you motivates you and kick in when all was you. Oh, it drops you to motivate you to do even more. It moves you. It shakes you. You can't sleep at night. You wake up in shivers and sweat because you realize then it's part of me and I can't let it beat me. I won't let it beat me. Because God has instilled in me and provided for me to make sure that I can be successful regardless of what it is. And you're built for this. I know you are. The reason why I know you are, because you can't rest. When people count you, you can't rest. You can't even gather your thoughts on it until you're able to at least show the world, the naysayer, that you're bigger than that. And God has built you for any adversary, any adverse moment in your life. And that makes the difference. Makes all the difference in the world. So when I was graduating, or at least supposed to graduate high school, my 12th grade year. It was my 12th grade year in high school, and of course, throughout my years in high school, at school, I was never the scholarly student. I wasn't that A and B person. Matter of fact, during that time, they gave you a choice. You can do college prep, which means it prepares you to go to college. And then there's a general studies, which pretty much say, hey, give me the bare minimum, let me finish, and I'll go take a trade or whatever. And I did the general studies. And even with general studies, my grades were not the best. I wasn't that person. So in my 12th grade year, this is my testimony. Stick with me. Because I'm living this. My 12th grade year, my mother received a letter in the mail, and they said, so when I was graduating, or at least supposed to graduate high school, my 12th grade year. It was my 12th grade year in high school, and of course, throughout my years in high school and school, I was never the scholarly student. I wasn't that A and B person. Matter of fact, during that time, they gave you a choice. You can do college prep, which means it prepares you to go to college. And then there's a general studies, which pretty much say, hey, give me the bare minimum, let me finish, and I'll go take a trade or whatever. And I did the general studies. And even with general studies, my grades were not the best. I wasn't that person. So in my 12th grade year, this is my testimony. Stick with me because I'm bigger than my 12th grade year. My mother received a letter in the mail and they said, well, your son, James Benson, he's failing a particular subject and he won't be graduating with his class. And so my mom called me. She say, Benny, she would always call, she all to this day, she'd say, Benny, I got this letter. They say you ain't gonna even graduate. In my mind, I knew it, but I could not let her know that I knew that. I was like, Mom, yeah, I get it. She said, your grades are not good, and they said you're not gonna graduate on time, and I was like, I understand what they're saying, but I knew the God in me. And I knew the God who has brought me and taught me, the same God that delivered me from as a child from pneumonia. The same God that helped me in my drums. The same God that helped me in my whole music selections for as becoming instrumental was the same God I was hoping to deliver me during this graduation period. So I said, Mom, I'm looking at her nervously because I don't know what it is she's going to come back with because she knew that the people knew what they were talking about, and anything that I had to rebuttal with will be mute pretty much at this moment. And I said, Mom, I'm gonna graduate. I'm going to graduate. I get it. I see the letter, but I'm gonna graduate. And and so in doing and saying that, I say not only am I going to graduate, I'm going to graduate on time with my class. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm built for this. You can't stop me. I mean, yeah, I may have goofed off a little bit, whatever, but you can't stop me because I'm built for this. God has prepared me for this moment. And whatever my adversaries, whatever anybody may say, I'm built for this moment and you're not going to take it away. So I see your letter that they sent, but I'm graduating with my class on time. Nervously. Yeah. Oh, so graduation day came. Oh, you should have saw me. You should have saw me as I walked across that stage. I had on my maroon robe that they issued through the school. They issued maroon robes. We had to order. I had on my maroon robe. I had on my black church shoes. Now, church shoes is what we called them during that time. Dress shoes is the modern day word. But I had on my black church shoes. I didn't have any medallions or anything draping across my shoulders with any accolades or anything indicating that I was a scholarly student or on the A and B roll. None of that. For after all, I wasn't even supposed to be there. But I walked across that stage and I got my diploma. And not only did I get my diploma, but I went on, finished school, finished college, got 2 dual degrees in undergrad from Georgia State, Went to Troy State, got 2 master's degrees in 2 particular subjects. Why? Because I'm built for this. And anytime you allow people to under who you are, anytime you allow people to undergird who you are to become, then you allow them to adverse or allow them to throw everything that God has instilled in you away because you're bigger than this. And all the naysayers, the onlookers, looking at me walking across them stages in high school, walking across the stage during my college career, undergrad, grad, with 2 master's degrees. What is this? This is not who we thought he were or was supposed to be. Of course you did. Because I'm built for this moment. I'm built. I'm better than what you think I am because who you think I am and who God say I am is 2 different entities. And so I went on, got my little degree, thinking I'm going to have somebody. And I was because I am somebody. Because God don't make no junk. And so I was compelled to show my naysayers that God instilled in me more than what you think. Things may come easy for you. Things may just fall in your lap. And when things are hard for me and I have to work for those things, I have to give the effort. But I'm not going to take down because you're doing well. There is that spirit that creep in of jealousy because you feel like if they have it, why can't I? And why can't I have it as easy as they? But they're not built like you. They couldn't handle it. They will fold at the moment. And that's why God built you the way that he built you, because he you to display to others that you can do it. Despite the odds, despite the circumstances, you can do it. And you will do it. So I went on and I finished my college career and worked and did the family life. And my last testimony, I told you I'm built for this. My entire life, I've been for this. He prepared for this. So at the age, I would say 46, I must have had an epiphany, or it could have been midlife crisis, but I left a job and decided to go into law enforcement and enter an academy with all the physicality and all the other attributes that are attributed to those who want to protect and serve. And so I remember going through, I was the actually oldest thing in my class. And unbeknownst to me is the fact that when it came down to qualifying in the shooting, because we had did a lot of the academic stuff and that went by well, no problem. But it came down toward the latter part of the academy to shooting. And I'm thinking, this should come easy to me for me. After all, my father was and is a marksman, spent much time with guns, and I spent time with him at some point with him. But would you believe the day that we were qualifying, I was the absolute weakest of the bunch. A class of about 25, 30 people, and I'm the weakest, the oldest, but the weakest. And so we had shot so many rounds, and I'm thinking to myself, well, my God, what is this? Again, everything don't come easy for some people. Remember, everybody else has qualified, and I'm still waiting to qualify just to maintain my position in the academy and not be let go by the agency. So it came down to the last shot. And so the staff came to me and said, well, you have one more attempt to qualify. And if you don't qualify, we're going to have to release you from the agency. So I looked at him and I say, I do understand. Can I go to the restroom, have a short break before I attempt my last qualifier? And so they granted me that. But what they didn't know was I was going to my prayer room. My prayer room consisted of an outdoors restroom. So I went over and I opened the door and went into the restroom. Didn't have to use the restroom. I just needed a prayer closet. And so when I walked in there, I only said 5 words. I said, Lord, thy will be done. When I said those words, I turned around. I opened the door. And I walked out and proceeded back over to the firing range. Took my duty weapon, lined up. The staff began to give commands to fire and give directions of how to shoot it. At the end of the day, shine on, shine on. You're bigger than life. God has equipped you for this moment. God has prepared you for this moment. When others count you out, when others say you can't do it, when others say it's over, nothing is over till God says over. But what He will do is show others that you're built for this moment. Oh, you should have saw my classmates. All 25 or 30 of them. I can't remember the numbers. But when I shot above an 80% on that last shot, they all ran down and began to overtake me with hugs, and we shot, as a class, a 100% shooting round on that day. Because God is good, and God is great, and you're better than this. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what sounds like. God is when others count you out, when others don't want to be around you because they're not a part of it, God is still great. And whatever it may look like in your life, what it may sound like, don't give up because you're built for this moment. Don't give up because you can do it. Oh, how your muscles must ripple at the starting gate. But the race is not given to the swift, neither strong, but the one that endured to the end shall be saved. You're built for this. Don't give in. You're built for this. God is calling on you to show your accolades. God is on you to show your gifts. God is on you to show them that you are and you are built for this. God bless you. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. JB Knowing Broadcast. I love you. I hope this message has been an inspiration to you. You're built for this moment. And let nothing take that away from you. Because you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. God bless you. God help you. Shine on, shine on.